Scylla cold stone bites through the thin silk at my knees as the guards force me down the last step. The hall reeks of iron, wet wool, and triumph. Above me, banners hang like heavy tongues, black cloth stitched with a silver wolf's eye watching, judging, hungry. Someone spits a word that means breeding stock in their dialect. Laughter skitters across the vaulted ceiling. I don't look at the men who dragged me here. I look at the dais. The alpha sits at its center as if the chair grew around him. Broad shoulders. Dark hair bound back with a leather tie. A scar cutting one eyebrow into a permanent, skeptical slant. His hands are bare on the armrests, unadorned, as if jewelry would be an insult to his strength. Thorn Caldrus, Warwinner, Oath-taker, the Wolf of Vale. I expected a monster. I find a man watching me like a problem he's already solving. The herald's staff cracks against the stone. Scylla of House Merowyn, Omega of the Salt March, offered as peace gift under the Treaty of Red Hallow. Peace gift. The words are a blade with a ribbon tied to it. Behind me, the doors boom shut. The sound lands in my chest like a verdict. My clan's envoy stands in the shadowed aisle, face rigid, eyes shiny with guilt they will never name. The last time I saw him, he couldn't meet my gaze. He still can't. No one forced me. That's the part that feels like standing on a cliff and smiling at the wind. They expected screams, bargaining, fainting. They expected an Omega to be dragged by her wrists. I walked. I lift my chin and breathe through my nose, slow and deliberate. In my throat, the old salt taste of home lingers, sea air and kelp, bonfires on dunes, memories I have to keep tight, like a fist around a charm, or the hall will swallow me whole. The council rings the dais like carrion birds. Old alphas with iron rings, betas with ledgers. A few omegas tucked behind their mates, eyes lowered, hands folded, taught to be small. Their scents are muffled under oils, obedience bottled and dabbed behind ears. Thorn doesn't speak. He only leans forward a fraction, and the room quiets the way a forest quiets when a predator steps into view. "Bring her closer," he says. The guards obey too fast, as if they've been waiting all day to shove me. My palms catch the stone. Pain blooms in my wrists. I don't give them the satisfaction of a gasp. When I'm close enough to see the faint pale line of old burns along Thorn's knuckles, he stands. Height first, then presence, like a storm deciding to become visible. He walks down from the dais, each step measured. A wolf that doesn't need to run to be dangerous. He stops in front of me and lets his gaze travel my face as if he's reading something written there, something I didn't know I carried. "Look at me," a counselor murmurs, eager for humiliation. I'm already looking. Thorn's nostrils flare, subtle. The air changes. Everyone feels it. The hall is suddenly a smaller box. His voice drops, meant for me alone though it carries. "You came willingly." "Yes." A ripple of shock, because an Omega isn't supposed to answer like that. An Omega is supposed to plead. "You understand what this means." "I understand the terms," I say, and keep my voice steady even as my heart punches at my ribs. But terms can be negotiated. A cough, half laughter, half outrage from the council. Thorn's eyebrow lifts. Negotiated. I don't rush. If I speak too fast, I'll sound afraid. If I speak too slow, I'll sound meek. I choose precision because precision is a kind of armor. "I will live in your citadel as the treaty requires," I say. "I will not be paraded. I will not be displayed in chains. I will not be touched without my consent. My clan's survivors will not be hunted in the borderlands while you toast peace here." Silence slams down. Even the fire in the braziers seems to hesitate. One of the older alphas, thick neck, gold torque, steps forward as if to correct me with his hands. "You are an Omega offered," Thorn's head turns. Not fast, not dramatic, just enough. The older alpha stops mid-step as if he's hit an invisible wall. Thorn looks back at me, bold, It's not bold, I say. It's necessary. My knees are still on stone, my wrists ache, my throat is dry. And yet, in the pit of me, a strange calm settles, the kind that comes when you've already died in your mind and decided to move anyway. Thorn's gaze sharpens. Why? Because I can feel the treaty like a taut string stretched across the world, and someone is already reaching for a knife. Because my gift has always been a curse until today. Because if I don't say it now, they'll teach me silence with pain. Because peace is fragile, I answer. And because I didn't crawl here to be used as a victory song. I came to stop the next slaughter. A counselor with ink-stained fingers hisses. Hear her, she speaks like a beta. Another sneers, or like an Omega who forgets her place. Thorn's mouth quirks, not quite a smile. And what place is that, Scylla of Merowyn? I let my breath out through my nose. The place you agreed to in the treaty, a living guarantee, not a toy. Thorn studies me for a long moment. Then he does something no one expects. He offers his hand, not to yank me up, not to display ownership. Just a hand, palm open, fingers relaxed. The hall holds its breath. If I take it, they'll say I submitted. If I refuse, they'll say I'm ungrateful and punish my clan for my insolence. I take it. His skin is warm, rough, real, calloused at the base of his fingers. The grip is firm but controlled, as if he's aware of how easily strength becomes cruelty. He pulls me to my feet and, for the briefest moment, steps closer, not enough to touch, but enough that his scent brushes mine. Pine resin, smoke, cold water over stone. Alpha, dangerous. Clean. My stomach tightens with a reaction I resent, because my body has its own language, and it does not ask permission before it speaks. Thorn turns toward the council without letting go of my hand. She will be housed in the eastern tower, guards at her door, not on her neck. Any man who touches her without my sanction will lose the hand he used. An argument erupts at once. She's a hostage. She's a prize. She will corrupt him. Thorn lifts his free hand. The room falls silent again, hard and immediate. She is the treaty, he says, and I do not break my word. The words hit my gift like a bell. Something in my chest thrums, an invisible cord vibrating with truth. Thorn's vow is real, anchored, not performance. It almost makes me dizzy. I swallow. The first knot in my lungs loosens just a fraction. Thorn's gaze drops to me, softer around the edges for a heartbeat. Do you accept the eastern tower, Scylla? I know the tower. Everyone does. It's a polite prison with windows. I nod. I accept. He releases my hand and steps back as if giving me air. That alone space offered makes my throat ache with a feeling too sharp to name. The herald strikes the staff again. So sealed under witness. Sealed. I should feel safer. Instead, my skin prickles, my gift stirring like a disturbed animal. The treaty is a net of words and blood and ink, and somewhere in it, a thread quivers wrong. Someone in this hall is already planning to snap it. And they're close, very close. Thorn, she doesn't tremble. It's the first thing I notice, and it irritates me like a grain of sand under a blade, small, persistent, impossible to ignore. Omegas brought as peace gifts tremble. They cry. They bargain. They collapse into the kind of softness my counsel expects because softness is easier to own. Scylla stands with scraped palms and a straight spine, and when she looks at me, she looks like she's deciding something. Not pleading. Choosing. That should make this simple. A willing gift means fewer complications, fewer knives hidden in sleeves. But it makes it worse too, because consent carries its own weight. If I crush her, it will not be the war doing it. It will be me. The council is already reading my silence as permission. I can feel their hunger, not for her body, though some of them have that too, but for what she represents, the salt march kneeling. Merowyn pride cut down. The last surviving embers snuffed out under my heel. They want a spectacle because a spectacle makes them feel safe. If the enemy is humiliated, then the enemy cannot rise again. Idiots. Humiliation breeds ghosts. Scylla's conditions spill into the hall like thrown salt. Every word makes the council stiffen. My advisors look at me as if waiting for a command to punish her for daring to speak. Instead, I listen. It isn't just the defiance, it's the accuracy. She names the ugly truths everyone pretends are tradition: parading, chaining, touching without consent. She does couch it in poetry. She says it as if she's giving an inventory of weapons. The part that strikes me hardest is not what she demands for herself. It's what she demands for her clan's survivors. She is a hostage, yes, but she is also a shield aimed outward. It's competent, strategic, infuriatingly brave, and it paints a target on her back. If I allow my counsel to reduce her to a trophy, we will have peace for a season and rebellion for a decade. If I protect her, my reputation cracks, and men who have sworn to me will start wondering if I've gone soft, if the wolf of Vale has been muzzled by an Omega's gaze. I have killed for less than that rumor. I take her hand because the room needs to see what I decide, and because I want to know if she will flinch when an alpha touches her. I keep my grip careful, controlled. I will not be the first violation of her boundaries, not when she came on her own feet. Her skin is cold from the stone. Her pulse hammers under my thumb. She hides it well, but her body doesn't lie. I pull her up and the scent of her rises despite whatever calming oil she tried to use on the road. Salt on wind, wild thyme, a hint of smoke. It punches straight through me, sharp and clean, and my instincts surge, claim, protect, keep. I hate my instincts. They have never been kind. They have also kept my people alive. I speak loudly enough that the council hears. Eastern Tower. Guards that are a barrier, not a leash. Punishment for any man who touches her without sanction. The older alphas glare, but they don't challenge me outright. Not yet. When I say, I do not break my word, I mean it. I have built my rule on oaths because fear alone collapses the moment someone stronger appears. But an oath, spoken and kept, turns into a spine that holds a clan upright through storms. Scylla looks at me like she can see the vow settle in my bones. For a moment her eyes soften, and the softness doesn't look like weakness. It looks like relief she refuses to indulge. Good. Relief makes people careless. As the council disperses, murmuring like a disturbed hive, I catch my brother's gaze across the hall. Varric's mouth is curved in something that isn't quite a smile. His eyes are too bright, too pleased. He inclines his head at Scylla as if at an entertaining purchase. My jaw tightens. Varric has always loved power for the way it tastes, not for what it costs. I turn away before my temper can speak. Temper is a tool that cuts the hand that wields it. I walk beside Scylla as guards flank us. She keeps her stride measured, refusing to be hurried. The corridor out of the council hall is lined with carved stone wolves. Their eyes follow you, and the torchlight makes their fangs seem wet. Scylla's gaze stays forward. Only her fingers curl once, briefly, like she's resisting the urge to touch her own throat. A protective instinct rises in me again, violent, immediate. She should not be alone in this den. You'll have a serving woman, I say, because practical arrangements are easier than naming the other thing I feel. A beta, loyal. Loyal to you, she answers without looking at me. Yes. I'd rather loyalty to truth, she says. The words are quiet, almost lost under the sound of our boots, but they land. I glance at her profile, the fine line of her nose, the set of her mouth, the small bruise already forming at her wrist. What do you mean? I ask. I mean, she says carefully, that I don't know who here benefits from breaking peace. A chill snakes up my spine, not because the idea is new, but because she says it like certainty, not suspicion. You think someone will try, I say. I know someone will, she replies. The corridor seems to narrow. The torches hiss. The guards pretend they don't listen, which means they listen harder. I stop at a junction where the eastern stairway climbs into shadow. I turn toward her, placing myself so the guards behind us can't see her face clearly. Tell me what you know, I say. Her throat moves as she swallows. For the first time since she entered my hall, something like fear flickers, not the fear of me, but the fear of what speaking might unleash. My clan didn't choose me because I'm pretty, she says, voice low. They chose me because I can feel vows. My breath stills. In stories, oath sense is a myth told to frighten liars and comfort the betrayed. A children's tale, be good, or the vow witch will hear your lies in the dark. Scylla's gaze pins mine. When a promise is true, it rings. When it's about to be broken, it frays. I felt the treaty fray the moment the herald spoke my name. My instinct is to dismiss it. Magic is unreliable. Fear makes people invent patterns. But my body, my alpha gut, does something I learned to respect in war. It believes her. And that terrifies me more than doubt would, because belief means action. Action means blood, and blood once spilled inside a clan never washes out clean. Who? I ask, too sharp. Scylla shakes her head once. I don't know, that's the worst part. It's close to you, Thorn. Hearing my name in her mouth is a small, ridiculous jolt. Not pleasure, not exactly. Recognition. A tether. I step nearer. Not to crowd her, never that, but because the air around her feels like a signal fire, and I'm cold enough to want its heat. Why tell me? I ask. You could keep quiet, survive, and let my clan tear itself apart later. She exhales, the sound thin. Because if peace breaks, my people die, and because I think you meant your vow. I stare at her. The corridor hums with torch flame and distant voices. She trusts me faster than she should. I believe her faster than I should. We are both standing on a bridge made of thin wood over a gorge. I force my voice to calm, to authority. You will speak of this to no one else. Not yet. Scylla's eyes narrow. So I'm to be quiet. No, I say, you're to be alive. Her expression shifts, caught between anger and something softer she doesn't want. Then what do we do? I look past her, up the eastern stairs, into the dark where her tower waits. We hunt, I say, and we do it without letting them know they've been seen. Scylla's breath catches, and I watch her fight for steadiness. She nods once, slow. In that nod I see it, she didn't come here to be rescued. She came here to stand in front of a blade. And I, who expected a submissive prize, have been handed a weapon that speaks in vows. I turn toward the guards. Take Lady Scylla to the eastern tower. No one enters without my seal. I, Alpha, they answer. Scylla takes the first step up the stairs, then pauses and looks back over her shoulder. If I'm wrong, she says quietly, you'll hate me. If you're right, I answer, someone will try to kill you. Her gaze holds mine, steady as a tide. Then you'll have to decide if your oath is stronger than your blood. The words land like a thrown gauntlet. She continues upward, her figure swallowed by shadow and torchlight, and I stand at the base of the stairs with the taste of iron on my tongue. Above, my citadel is full of my people. And somewhere among them, a traitor is smiling. Scylla, the eastern tower is not a dungeon. That's what makes it dangerous. A dungeon is honest about what it is. My rooms are high, warm, furnished with dark wood and thick rugs. The window is tall and arched, overlooking the cliff where the citadel bites into the mountain. Snow gathers in the crevices like old bones. Far below, the river is a narrow ribbon of black. 2 guards stand outside my door, not cruel-faced, not leering professional, eyes forward, hands near their blades. Thorn keeps his word. A serving woman arrives an hour later, as promised. She is a beta with tight braids and a calm scent of lavender and soap. She bows, not too low. I am Meles, she says. I serve the Cauldress household. Her gaze flicks over my wrists, my scraped palms, my bruised knees. Something in her face tightens, a small, sympathetic anger quickly smoothed away. "Do you serve truth?" I ask her, because Thorn promised loyalty and I asked for something else. Maylis blinks, then meets my eyes. "I serve survival," she answers carefully. "Truth is dangerous in this house." Honest. I nod and let the tension in my shoulders ease a fraction. "Then help me survive." She brings salve for my wrists. As she rubs it in, her fingers are gentle, efficient. The touch is not intimate, it is care given as a duty, which, in this place, feels like a rare luxury. When she finishes, she hesitates. "They're angry in the lower hall," she says softly. "The council. They didn't expect you to speak." "I didn't expect them to listen," I reply. Maylis' mouth twists. "The alpha, he listens when he wants. It's everyone else you must fear." "I do," I say, and stare at the door as if I can see through it. My gift hums under my ribs like a second heartbeat. It isn't a voice. It isn't sight. It's tension, threads pulling tight in the air when a promise is made, loosening when it's about to be betrayed. Right now, the treaty thread is taut enough to sing. But there is another thread near it, oily and dark, coiling around. Someone is binding a different vow in secret. I pace the room, then force myself to stop. Pacing is prey behavior. It shows the cage. I cross to the window and press my palm against the cold glass. Below, men move like ants, carrying firewood, hauling barrels, laughing. A normal day in a citadel that just ended a war. My people back home are not having normal days. They're burying ash and counting the living. I close my eyes, and for a moment I can hear the salt march. Gulls screaming, waves striking rock, my mother's voice telling me to be useful, because usefulness is the only form of love our clan knows. They chose me because my gift could keep them alive. They sent me because my body could be a bargaining chip. They told me I was brave. I think they meant expendable. A knock at the door breaks the spiral of thought. The guards speak with someone in the hall, low, respectful. Then the lock clicks. Thorn enters alone. No counselors, no brother at his shoulder, no crowd, just him filling the doorway with the kind of quiet that makes even fire cautious. Maylis lowers her gaze and slips out, closing the door behind her. Thorn's eyes find my wrists immediately. His jaw tightens. "They hurt you." "It was a shove," I say, "not a beating." "It was unnecessary," he replies, voice flat. I want to hate how that simple sentence warms something inside me. Unnecessary. Not acceptable, not customary. Unnecessary. As if my pain is a waste, and waste offends him. He steps farther into the room, stopping at a respectful distance. The space between us feels deliberate, a line he won't cross without invitation. That alone makes me want to test it, to step closer just to see if he retreats or holds. I don't. He glances at the window. "You can see the river from here." "I can," I say. "It's beautiful." "It's a long way down," he says, not a warning exactly, but not a warning. "I didn't come to die," I answer and meet his gaze. "I came to stop death." Thorn's throat moves as he swallows something unsaid. He looks older than he did on the dais. Not aged, burdened. "My council is furious," he says. "They think you've bewitched me." I give a humorless huff. "With what? Words." "Words are spells," he says simply. "In the mouths of the right person." I can feel him trying not to step closer. His restraint is a physical thing, like a hand gripping the back of his own neck. "Tell me again," he says, quieter. "About your gift." So I do. I tell him how true vows feel like struck metal, clear, resonant, painful in the best way. How false promises feel like wet cloth. How impending betrayal is a fraying rope, a sickening, creeping unravel. As I speak, his expression changes from skepticism to something harder, calculation, readiness. He is a man who has lived by reading threats before they become visible. When I finish, the silence between us is thick. "What did you feel today?" he asks. "Exactly." I press my fingers to my sternum where the hum won't stop. When the herald named me under the treaty, the thread tightened. Strong, real, your vow, your words about not breaking your word rang true. Thorn's eyes hold mine steady. And then, I continue, forcing the next part out, there was a pull, like someone tugging at the knot from the other side. Not your hand, not mine. "Someone in my clan," he murmurs. "Yes." Thorn turns his head slightly, listening not to the hall, but to his own thoughts. Then his gaze snaps back to me. "Names," he says, "give me suspects." "I can't," I answer, frustration sharp. "My gift doesn't point, it warns. It tells me a vow is being set against another vow. It tells me danger is near you like breath." "Near me," he repeats, and I see his mind go to the people who stand closest. His brother, his commanders, his advisors, his sworn guard. His hands curl once, then relax. "I'll place you under my personal protection," he says. My stomach flips, instinctively, traitorously. Personal protection means closeness. It means his scent on me in the corridors, his shadow over me when others look too long. It means safety and scandal braided together. "And your counsel?" I ask. "They'll choke on it," he replies without apology. "Let them. Better choking than plotting." He takes one step closer, still not near enough to touch, but close enough that I can feel the heat of him in the air. My pulse stutters, his voice lowers. "You were right about one thing." "What?" "You being willing makes it more complicated," he says, "because it makes me a person, not a prize. Because it makes him responsible, not just victorious." I swallow. "And you protecting me makes it dangerous for you." His gaze drops to my mouth for half a heartbeat, then returns to my eyes. "I was dangerous long before you arrived." The words should feel like a threat. Instead, they feel like an invitation to honesty. My gift hums again, urgent, sharp. A new thread catches, fresh, slick, wrong. Somewhere below this tower, someone speaks a vow in secret. Not to the treaty, against it, my breath catches. "Thorn," he stiffens, instantly alert. "What?" "I feel it," I whisper. "Right now, a promise being made." His face goes still, the way it does before a strike. "To do what?" he asks. I close my eyes, trying to separate sensations, to translate a vibration into meaning. The fray is fast, angry, deliberate. "To break peace," I say, and my throat tightens until the words scrape. "To make it look like my clan violated the treaty first." When I open my eyes, Thorn is already moving toward the door, murder in the set of his shoulders. He pauses with his hand on the latch and looks back at me. "You stay here," he orders. "And if they come for me while you hunt?" I ask, forcing the fear into steel. If I'm the easiest way to blame my clan, Thorn's jaw clenches. For a moment, I see the warlord in him, the ruthless animal the songs worship. Then I see something else, quieter and worse. Worry. He makes a decision that tastes like risk. "Then you come with me," he says. My heart punches hard enough to hurt. Now, he repeats. "Because if you can feel a vow being made, you can help me find where it's anchored. And because I won't leave you alone in a tower when my own house is sharpening knives." He opens the door. The corridor beyond is dim, guarded, normal. But the air between us is not normal. I step forward, crossing the threshold, and the moment I leave the room, my gift hums louder. As if the whole citadel is a web, and something is shaking the center. I walk beside Thorn into his den, and I don't know which of us is more hunted. The Omega peace gift, or the Alpha who decided not to use her like one. Scylla, we move through the citadel like a held breath. Thorn doesn't bark orders. He doesn't posture. He walks with that quiet, lethal certainty that makes other bodies instinctively step aside. Torches throw shifting light across the stone, turning every archway into a mouth. The guards at intersections straighten as we pass, hands tightening on spear shafts, eyes flicking to me and away again, as if looking too long might invite punishment. My gift keeps tugging, threads under my skin, vibrating whenever we near clustered vows. Soldiers swearing watch rotations. A cook promising the bread will stretch another day. Small oaths like knots entwine, but underneath them the other promise crawls. It's not loud. It's deliberate. Someone has made it carefully, like laying poison into a cup and stirring until it disappears. Thorn leads us down a spiral stair that smells of damp stone and old smoke. The air changes as we descend, colder, denser, carrying the tang of iron from the training yard below. The echo of steel striking steel rises up like a heartbeat. We emerge behind a line of practice dummies. The yard is half-lit by braziers, filled with men finishing evening drills. They pause when Thorn appears instantly, spines straightening, heads lowering in respect. Their scents flare with adrenaline and loyalty, strong enough to make my throat tighten. I keep my face calm and my steps even, because if I look like prey, they will treat me like prey. Thorn doesn't acknowledge the stairs. He scans the yard once, then angles toward the covered walkway that borders it, where the shadows are deeper. There, I whisper before I can stop myself. The wrong thread tightens, my breath catches. Thorn's head turns a fraction. What? Near the chapel doors, I say, and the words scrape out as my gift pulls hard, a hook behind my sternum. Someone anchored it. It's attached to that place. A chapel inside a warlord's citadel should be quiet. It is. It hums with old vows that have been repeated so many times the stone remembers them. Words of fealty, marriage oaths, pacts made in blood and salt and ash. The air around the chapel is thick with a history of promises, and my gift reacts like a compass shoved too close to a magnet, spinning, aching. Thorn's gaze hardens. Stay behind me. I'm already behind you, I murmur, because humor is the only thing keeping my spine from turning to water. He moves toward the chapel doors without hesitation. 2 guards stand there, Thorn's Black Wolf insignia stitched on their shoulders. They stiffen as he approaches. My alpha, one says quickly, voice respectful, eyes darting to me. The chapel is closed at night. Thorn doesn't slow. Open it, the guard swallows. We were told. Told by whom? Thorn asks, so softly it's worse than shouting. The guard sense spikes with fear. His eyes flick once to the side, toward the shadowed walkway that wraps behind the chapel. Thorn sees it. So do I. The wrong thread snaps tight like a bowstring pulled to its limit. Thorn steps closer until he's within arm's reach of the guard. His voice remains calm, almost gentle. Name him. The guard's mouth opens. A whistle slices through the yard. A bolt slams into the stone beside Thorn's head with a crack that makes my ears ring. Sparks spit. Men shout. Steel scrapes free of sheaths. Thorn moves like a sudden storm. He grabs my wrist, not yanking, just sealing contact, and pulls me hard behind the nearest pillar as another bolt hisses past and thuds into the dummy line, shattering straw. I duck automatically, heart trying to escape my ribs. The training yard explodes into motion. Soldiers rush, boots pounding. Someone screams an order. Another bolt flies too close, too deliberate. Thorn presses his forearm in front of me, a living shield. His body is heat and iron and control. Breathe, he says, low and immediate, as if he can command my lungs. I force air in. In, out, my gift is screaming now, frayed treaty thread, hateful vow, the chapel humming like an opened wound. They're trying to start a riot, I rasp. Make it look like your men attacked me, or like my clan struck first. Thorn's jaw clenches. I know. A shadow flickers at the edge of the pillar. Thorn whips a dagger from his belt and throws without looking. There's a wet sound, a grunt. A body drops out of sight. I don't peek. I can't. My hands are shaking and I refuse to let him feel it, but he must anyway, because his grip on my wrist adjusts, steadying, anchoring. "Can you feel where the vow is strongest?" he asks. I close my eyes, letting sensation lead instead of fear. The chapel is a storm of old promises, but the wrong one is newer, sharper, like fresh ink on a page. I turn my head slightly, tasting it with whatever strange sense my gift uses. "Inside," I whisper, "under the altar, or behind it, something bound there." Thorn's breath is hot against my hair as he leans closer. Then we go in. He waits for a half-beat, as if giving my body the chance to refuse. The choice is mine. I nod once. We move. Thorn signals with 2 fingers, silent command, and 2 of his personal guards break from the chaos to flank us. They are bigger than the yard soldiers, marked by scars and the stillness of men who have killed without panic. One of them takes the chapel guard by the collar and drags him aside. Thorn reaches the door, grabs the iron ring handle, and yanks. Locked. Of course it is. His mouth curls in something ugly. He drives his shoulder into the wood. The door groans but holds. A second impact splinters it. On the third, the lock gives with a crack like bone. We spill into darkness smelling of cold incense and old stone. The chapel's interior is narrow and severe. No gold, no soft cushions, only dark benches, a carved altar, and a wall relief of a wolf biting its own tail. The braziers are unlit. Moonlight spills through high slits in the wall, striping the floor in pale blades. And there, under the altar's shadow, I feel it, a vow tied in blood. My stomach flips, my throat tightens. "It's here." Thorn's voice is a low growl. "Show me." I step forward, careful, because the air in here feels like it can punish movement. My gift tugs me to the altar's right side, where stone meets stone in an uneven seam. "Behind this panel," I say, pressing my palm to the cold relief. Thorn's hand covers mine for a heartbeat, huge, warm, steady, and then he shifts me gently aside. He draws his sword and wedges the tip into the seam. With a twist, he pries. Stone grinds, dust rains down. The panel swings inward on hidden hinges. Inside is a cavity lined with black cloth. And in the center, a small bowl, silver, shallow, smeared with dried dark red. A blood bowl. Beside it, a strip of parchment folded tight and sealed with wax bearing the Cauldrus Wolfi. The wrong vow hits me like a punch. My knees wobble. Thorn catches my elbow, grounding me. "What does it say?" he asks, voice tight with controlled fury. "I can't read it without opening it," I whisper. "But I can feel it. It's a pledge to break the treaty, to blame my clan, to finish the war in the dark." Thorn's nostrils flare. Something in him shifts, predatory and cold. He takes the parchment, holds it up to the moonlight without breaking the seal, and studies the wax imprint. His face goes still. "Who uses this seal?" I ask, already fearing the answer. Thorn doesn't speak for a moment. His thumb brushes the wax edge, not breaking it, just touching as if touch alone can confirm what he already knows. Then he says, each word like a stone dropping into a deep well, "My blood, my housemark." My pulse stutters. "So any one of your household could have?" "No," he cuts in, voice harsh. Then softer, worse. "Only 3 have access to the private seal, me, my steward, and Varric." The name hangs in the chapel like smoke. Thorn's brother. The bright eyes. The satisfied smile in the council hall. The way he looked at me like a purchase. My gift reacts to the name Frey, confirming what my mind doesn't want to accept. Thorn closes his eyes for a single breath, a sliver of grief forced into a crack and sealed away. When he opens them, they are winter. "You were right," he says. "I didn't want to be," I whisper, and my voice breaks despite my efforts. "Thorn, I didn't." "I know," he says, and he does know. His hand tightens once on my elbow, not hurting, just holding. "This is not your fault." The chapel door behind us bangs. Boots thunder in the yard outside. Shouts echo down the corridor, confusion, orders, the sound of a citadel trying to decide which direction to fear. Thorn looks to his guards. "Take this bowl, wrap it, do not spill a drop, I want it on the council table." One guard nods, moving with reverence like handling a relic. Thorn's gaze returns to the hidden cavity. There's more. He reaches into the space and pulls out a small leather pouch. He shakes it once. Something clinks metal. He opens it and pours the contents into his palm, a signet ring, not his, but similar cauldrous design with a smaller secondary marking etched inside the band. Thorn's voice goes flat. "Varric's inner mark." My stomach turns. "He left evidence. He wanted it found," Thorn says, and the realization is sharp enough to hurt. "He wanted me to see it." "Why?" I whisper. Thorn's mouth tightens. "Because he thinks this will force my hand. Make me choose blood over treaty. Make me look weak whichever way I turn." My gift tugs hard again, not at the hidden vow now, but at the treaty thread itself, quivering as if it can feel what's coming. Thorn takes a steady breath. Then he does something that shocks me more than the betrayal. He breaks the wax seal. The snap is crisp in the chapel's hush. He unfolds the parchment and reads in silence. I watch his eyes move. Watch his knuckles whiten on the paper. Watch his jaw muscles jump as if he's chewing down rage. He hands the parchment to me without a word. I take it with trembling fingers and read. It's written in a hand that wants to look like Thorn S, but isn't quite. The phrasing is too ornate, too eager. It names my clan. It names specific border outposts to be burned in retaliation. It swears that the peace gift Omega will be returned broken to prove Marrowan treachery. It binds the signers to secrecy, under Cauldress blood. At the bottom are two names, Varric Cauldress. And my breath stops Maelys, the servant woman. My vision blurs, not from tears yet, but from sheer shock. My throat tightens until swallowing hurts. "Maelys," I whisper. Thorn's head snaps up. "What?" I hold the parchment up with shaking hands. She signed it. For the first time since we entered the chapel, Thorn looks genuinely caught off guard. His brows knit. His gaze sharpens, calculating. Maelys is a beta servant. She shouldn't have access. But she does, I say, voice thin. She was assigned to me, today, right away. Thorn's face turns colder. A leash disguised as help. "And she told me truth was dangerous here," I whisper, bitter now. "She warned me." And all the while, Thorn takes the parchment back, reads the signature again like willing it to change, then tucks it into his belt with a violence that barely stays contained. "We leave," he says. We step out of the chapel into a corridor flooded with noise. The yard has become a churn of bodies. Some men are down. There's blood on the stone, dark and slick. An archer's body lies near the dummy line, throat opened. Another near the wall, pinned by a spear. Thorn's men are winning, but the damage is done. Panic, anger, stories already forming. And stories are the easiest kind of weapon to aim at an Omega. Thorn doesn't waste time. He grabs the nearest captain by the shoulder and speaks low and fast. The captain's eyes widen, then his spine straightens with grim understanding. He barks orders, pulling squads into formation. Thorn turns to me. "You stay at my side," I nod. My gift is still humming, vibrating against my ribs like a warning bell. The treaty thread hasn't snapped yet, but it's under strain. We move through the chaos toward the inner keep. Thorn's guards clear the path. Men bow or stare. Some look furious, some confused, some hungry for someone to blame. I keep my chin high and my steps steady, but inside, fear claws at my lungs. Not fear of dying. Fear of failing. Because if Thorn hesitates, if he chooses blood, my clan will be erased, and I will become the excuse. As we reach the inner gate, a woman steps into our path from the shadow of a pillar Melee's. She looks different now. No bowed head, no soft hands. Her expression is tight, sharp with purpose. In her hand is a small blade, thin as a needle. She holds it low, almost hidden, but I see it because terror makes everything bright. "My lady," she says softly, and her voice is nearly the same as before, calm, respectful. That's what makes it monstrous. Thorn's sword is already out, tip angled down, posture controlled. Step away from her. Melee's gaze flicks to Thorn, then to me. Her scent is wrong, no lavender now, only cold sweat and something metallic. "You don't understand," she says, and her eyes shine like she believes she's righteous. "Peace makes us weak. Your clan will rot from mercy." Thorn's voice is a blade. "Where is Varric?" Melee smiles, small and cruel. "Where you can't stop him." My gift surges. Not just fray, but a sudden tearing pull, as if a vow has been triggered. "Thorn," I whisper urgently, something just. Melee's moves. She lunges not at Thorn, at me. The needle blade flashes toward my throat with a speed that turns my stomach to ice. Thorn intercepts her like a wall becoming alive. His arm shoots out, taking the strike on his forearm bracer. Metal rings. The blade skitters. Thorn grabs Melee's wrist and twists. A crack, a scream, the blade drops. Melee's tries to twist free, eyes wild. She looks at me over Thorn's shoulder with hatred so intense it's almost intimate. "You think he'll choose you?" she spits. "He'll choose blood, he always will." Thorn's grip tightens. "Not this time." He slams her against the stone pillar, pinning her with his forearm across her collarbone, enough to immobilize, not enough to crush. His voice is low, lethal. "Talk." Melee's laughs, breathless and ugly. "He's in the high vault, with the council's ledgers. He'll discover proof that Merowyn prepared to strike again. He'll make you have to finish them." My mouth goes dry. The high vault is where treaties are stored, where records become truth because ink is easier to believe than a living woman. Thorn's face becomes something carved. He makes a decision so fast it feels like a gust of wind. "Take her," he snaps to his guards. "Bind her, gag her. If she bites her tongue off, let her choke." One guard hauls Melee's away. She struggles, spitting curses until the gag muffles them into animal sounds. Thorn turns to me. His gaze locks on my face like he's anchoring himself. "Can you run?" "Yes," I say. My legs feel like they belong to someone else, but I will not be dead weight. "Tell me where." "The high vault," he answers. "And Scylla," he stops, as if the next words are the ones that could change everything between us. "I will not let him use you as an excuse," Thorn says, voice rough. "I don't care what it costs." My gift rings on that vow, pure struck metal, clear and painful and real. It hits me so hard my eyes burn. I nod once, because if I speak, I will cry, and I refuse to give the citadel my tears as entertainment. We run. Thorn, every step up the inner stairs tastes like blood. Not because I'm wounded, though the bracer on my forearm is dented and my skin beneath it stings, but because betrayal has a flavor, and I can feel it coating my tongue. Varric, my brother, we were boys together. We bled together. We buried our father together. We made promises at the river, stupid, fierce promises, the kind children think can hold the world in place. And he has been smiling while he sharpened a knife for my back. Scylla runs beside me, breath controlled, hair coming loose at her temples. She doesn't lag. She doesn't whimper. She keeps pace like a soldier, and something in my chest tightens with a feeling I can't afford to name right now. Protect, honor, want. The high vault is above the council hall, behind 2 iron gates and a door that only the ruling alpha and his steward can open with the key staff, which means Varric shouldn't be able to enter, unless the steward is involved, unless Varric has stolen the staff. Unless the lock was never the real barrier, only the illusion of one. The stairwell narrows as we climb. Torches gutter in the draft. I hear distant shouting below, the training yard still erupting. That chaos will spread stories through the citadel like fire through dry grass. If I don't control the narrative, Varric will. And he knows that. We reach the first gate. It's open. My throat tightens. I gesture to my guards to fan out, cover corners. Scylla stays at my shoulder, eyes wide, jaw clenched, refusing to be pushed back. The second gate stands closed, but the lock is broken, metal twisted and forced, the way only someone with a key staff or a blacksmith's knowledge could do. I push through. The high vault door is ajar. The air inside is colder than it should be, as if the room has held its breath for centuries. Shelves line the walls with scroll tubes, ledgers, wax-sealed boxes. The smell of ink and old parchment is thick, almost sweet. And in the center stands Varric. He's dressed like he just left the council hall, immaculate hair tied back, hands clean. In his right hand is the key staff, my staff carved with the cauldrous eye and ringed in iron. In his left is a sheaf of parchment, already stamped, already sealed. He looks up with a smile that could have been charming if it weren't standing on the edge of ruin. Brother. Scylla stiffens beside me. I feel it. Fear, yes, but also rage, sharp and bright. I keep my voice level. Put the staff down. Varric's gaze flicks to Scylla. Interest sparks there, unpleasant and proprietary. She's prettier than the war reports described. My hand tightens on my sword hilt until the leather creaks. Speak again about her, and I'll cut out your tongue. Varric's smile thins. There he is, the wolf. He lifts the sheaf. Do you want to see what I have? Proof. Merowyn correspondence. A plan to strike our border within a moon's turn. And you have the perfect witness, our peace gift Omega. Scylla's breath hitches. I feel her gift vibrating like a storm under her skin. I take one step forward. It's forged. Varric's brows rise in mock surprise. Is it, or is she whispering lies into your ear? Omegas do that, you know. They survive by turning strong men soft. Scylla makes a sound, tiny, furious, like a choke. I glance at her and see her fighting the urge to speak, to lash back. I want her silent for her safety. I also want her voice in this room like a blade. Varric watches us with satisfaction. Look at you, standing guard like she's already your mate. My blood goes cold, because the words hit too close to instincts I've been denying since she walked into my hall without trembling. I don't want my counsel to be right about anything. Varric steps closer to the central table and lays the forged parchments on it as if presenting a feast. It's simple, Thorn. Announce that the treaty was broken by Merowyn. Use this evidence. Finish them. Secure our borders. Your council will applaud. I will stand with you. And Scylla, I ask, voice flat. Varric shrugs. A symbol. Symbols can be disposed of once they've served. Scylla's sense spikes, fear, anger, something like grief. I look at my brother and realize something with a clarity so sharp it stings. He never cared about the clan. He cared about winning. And peace is a kind of losing to men like him. You anchored a blood vow in the chapel, I say. You used my seal. Varric's eyes glitter. You found it. Good. Then you understand how far I'll go. You signed Melee's to it, Scylla says suddenly, voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. You used her to get close to me. Varric's gaze slides to her, amused. You're not as docile as I hoped. I'm not docile at all, Scylla says, and I feel my gut twist with pride and dread. Varric tilts his head. Tell me, little vow witch, can you feel this? Can you feel what happens when Thorn refuses to do what's necessary? He raises the key staff slightly, and my blood runs cold because I finally understand what the staff can do besides open doors. It can open the emergency signal runes in the citadel. It can ring the war bells. It can call every armed man to the yard with a single command. Varric's mouth curves. I can make the clan believe Merowyn attacked tonight. I can make them demand blood. I can make them force your hand, brother. Scylla's hand brushes my sleeve, not holding, not clinging, just a point of contact like an anchor. Her touch says, don't let him. My giftless senses can't read vows like she can, but I can read the room. Varric isn't bluffing. He's already set it in motion. The chaos in the yard was the spark. The forged ledgers are the fuel. The war bells will be the wind. I could kill him now. A clean solution. Steel to throat. End it. But killing a brother in secret is the kind of act that cracks a clan in half. Rumor will rot it from the inside. The council will split. Varric's loyalists will whisper that I murdered him to keep an Omega, that I chose lust over law. I need daylight. I need witnesses. I need truth presented like a blade on the council table so no one can pretend they didn't see it. I lift my sword and point the tip at the floor, a deliberate restraint. You will come with me to the council hall, Varric laughs. To confess, to answer, I say, in front of witnesses. Varric's smile fades. You're trying to keep your hands clean. I'm trying to keep the clan alive, I snap, and the words come out rougher than intended. Varric's eyes narrow, suddenly sharp. You think you're better than me because you want peace? Peace will rot us. The border clans will smell it and bite. Merowyn will bite. Scylla's voice cuts through, quiet but deadly. Merowyn will only bite if you force them into a corner. Varric turns fully to her then, and for a moment I see something like desire in his expression, twisted, hungry. You think you know corners, Omega? You've lived in one your entire life. Don't pretend you understand men like us. I understand vows, Scylla says, and her gaze is steady as a blade's edge. And I understand that you are lying. The air shivers. My skin prickles. Not magic certainty. Varric's attention snaps back to me. She's poisoned you. No, I say, and my voice drops to something that surprises even me. She's shown me where the poison already was. Varric's fingers tighten around the key staff. His eyes flick toward the vault door behind us. Calculation. He's going to run. I take a step fast. He moves faster. He swings the key staff toward a wall rune plate. Scylla lunges, not at him, at the staff. Her hand clamps around it, small fingers wrapping iron and wood. The motion is reckless, brave, stupid, perfect. Varric snarls, yanking hard. Scylla's body jerks. She grimaces, but she doesn't let go. I am moving before thought catches up. My sword comes up not to kill, but to disable. I strike Varric's forearm with the flat of the blade, controlled force. Bone gives with a sickening crunch. Varric screams and drops the staff. Scylla stumbles, clutching it with both hands like it's a lifeline. Her face is pale, eyes bright with pain and adrenaline. Varric grabs a knife with his good hand and launches himself at Scylla, eyes wild. Everything inside me goes red and silent. I step between them and drive my shoulder into Varric's chest, slamming him back against the table hard enough to rattle ink pots. The knife clatters. I seize his collar and lift. He spits blood, smiling through it. Do it, he croaks. Kill me, prove you're weak, prove you'll choose an Omega over blood. I hold him there, trembling with the effort not to crush his throat. Scylla's voice comes, strained but steady. Thorn, don't give him that. I turn my head just enough to see her. She's holding the key staff now, knuckles white, breathing hard. Her eyes are on me, not pleading, not afraid of me, just present. Solid. As if she's offering herself as a reason to stay human. I lower Varric slowly, keeping my grip. Guards, I call, voice carrying. My men surge forward, shackles ready. They seize Varric, wrench his arms back. Snarls, fights, but with his broken arm he's weaker than his pride expects. As they bind him, Varric twists his head toward me, eyes fever bright. They will hate you for this. Let them, I say, and the words taste like iron and relief. I can live with their hate, I won't live with your rot. We march him out. Scylla walks beside me, still clutching the key staff like she's afraid it will disappear. Her shoulders are squared, but her steps are slightly uneven. I lean closer as we pass through the corridor. "Are you hurt?" "My hand," she whispers. "He pulled." I glance down. Her palm is scraped, already reddening. Rage rises again. I keep my voice low. "When this is done, you'll have a healer." "When this is done," she says, and there's a tremor in her tone that isn't fear. Either peace lives or everything burns. I don't answer because there's nothing to soften that truth. We descend into the council hall, and the air changes. The hall is filled. Not only counselors now, but captains, stewards, clan elders drawn by the chaos. Faces tight with confusion and anger. Scent thick with fear and excitement. The moment they see Varric in shackles, a roar rises. Outrage, denial, vindication. A counselor stands, pointing. "What is this?" Thornme steps forward and raises a hand. Silence spreads reluctantly, like oil over water. I look at them all, and I feel the weight of rule settle fully onto my shoulders. "Tonight someone tried to break our treaty," I say. "They tried to make it appear Merowyn struck first. They tried to use Scylla as a tool to justify slaughter." Murmurs surge, disbelief, anger. Varric laughs through blood. Listen to him. He blames me because his Omega has him by the throat. Scylla steps forward before I can stop her. My instincts flare, protect, but I force myself to hold still. She is not a fragile thing. She has proven that. If I silence her now, I become another kind of jailer. Scylla lifts her chin. "Your Alpha's vow rang true today," she says, voice carrying across the hall. "But another vow was made against the treaty anchored in your chapel with Cauldress blood." Gasps. A shout. Someone curses. A counselor snaps. An Omega claims. Thorn lifts a hand sharply. She speaks. You listen. The hall stills again, more out of fear of me than respect for her, but I'll take it. Scylla continues. "I can feel vows. True vows ring. False ones sag. Betrayal frays. Tonight your treaty frayed because someone bound a blood vow to break it." I pull the bowl wrapped in cloth from my guard and place it on the council table. I unwrap it slowly so everyone can see the dried blood. Then I pull out the parchment and throw it down beside the bowl. The wax seal is broken. The signature's visible. A hush falls so deep it feels like drowning. Steward Iskander, thin, gray-bearded, eyes sharp as needles, leans forward to read. His face drains of color. He looks up at me, lips parting, then closes them again as if realizing there is no safe thing to say. I speak the names aloud. Varric Cauldress, Melees, the hall erupts. Melees, someone shouts. The beta servant, she served the household for years. We fed her at our tables. Voices crash into each other. Some deny, some demand blood, some look at Varric with dawning horror. Varric throws his head back and laughs, wild and bright. "They will still follow me, brother. Half of them more, because I tell them what they want to hear." I step closer until I'm standing in front of him, the council behind me a wall of watching faces. "Then they'll hear this," I say. I turn to the hall. "Varric Cauldress has committed treason against my rule and against our clan's oath," I announce. "He attempted to use forged evidence to incite war. He attempted to assassinate our treaty's living guarantee. He has broken Cauldress law." A counselor jumps up. "He is your brother." "Yes," I say, and the word comes out like a bruise. "Which is why it ends here, publicly, with witnesses, with truth." I gesture, and my guard drags Varric forward to the center space. Varric's eyes meet mine. For a heartbeat, something human flickers memories, childhood, all the times I wanted him to be better. Then he spits blood on the stone. "Coward," he whispers. Maybe courage isn't charging into war. Maybe courage is cutting out the rot even when it shares your face." I lift my sword. The hall holds its breath. Scylla stands near the council table, pale and rigid, hand clenched around the edge as if holding herself upright. Her eyes are on me, and I can't tell if she's afraid of what I'll do or afraid I won't do it. I speak one last time, voice carrying to every corner. Under witness, I pass sentence. I bring the blade down. When it's over, there is a terrible silence, not peaceful, not relieved, but stunned. The kind of silence that follows a storm when people step outside to see which houses still stand. Blood darkens the stone. My brother's body lies still, and I feel something inside me tear, quiet and final. The council doesn't cheer. They stare. They realize, perhaps for the first time, that my oaths were never theater, that my mercy was never weakness, that I will pay any price to keep my word, even if the price is my own blood. I wipe my blade and sheath it. My hands are steady. My chest is not. Remove him, I order. The guards obey. The body is taken away. I turn back to the council table, to the bowl, the parchment, the exposed proof, and I speak again, because rule cannot pause for grief. Melis is in custody, I say. She will be tried. The steward will audit every ledger and seal in the vault. Any who aided this plot will be named and punished. Murmurs rise, but weaker now, subdued under the weight of what they've seen. Then I look at Scylla. The treaty stands, I say, and my voice roughens on the words. And I will reinforce it with fresh oaths at dawn, under witness of both clans. Scylla's shoulders sag a fraction, just a fraction, as if she's been holding the world up and can finally set it down. Her eyes shine. She blinks hard. My chest tightens again. I turn away before the hall can see that softness in me. I leave. Scylla, he walks out like nothing happened. Like he didn't just kill his brother in front of an entire clan. Like his heart isn't bleeding somewhere behind his ribs. But I saw his face when the sword fell. I saw the part of him that died with Varric, and I can't unsee it. I can't pretend that justice is clean. The council hall is still buzzing, the air thick with shock, but people move around me carefully now, as if I've become something dangerous. I might be. A treaty can be a weapon. A truth can be too. As Thorn leaves, I find myself following without thinking. Not running, not calling after him, just refusing to let him vanish into stone corridors to bleed alone. The guards at the doors glance at me, uncertain. I lift my chin. I don't ask permission. One steps aside. The corridor beyond is dim and quiet compared to the hall. Thorn's footsteps are a steady rhythm ahead. He doesn't look back, but he must hear me, because he slows slightly, just enough that the distance between us doesn't grow. We climb stairs I don't recognize, away from the council levels and into the inner keep where only the ruling household lives. At a heavy door bound in iron, Thorn stops. He rests a hand on the latch, shoulders rising and falling once. Then he speaks without turning. Go back to your tower. The words should sting. They don't, because his voice is wrong, too flat, too controlled. A man trying to keep himself from breaking apart in front of the only witness who followed him. I step closer until I'm within arm's reach, close enough that I can see the fine spray of blood on the edge of his sleeve from earlier, the faint tremor in his fingers. No, I say softly. Thorn's shoulders stiffen. Scylla. I hear my name like a warning, like a plea, like a line he's trying not to cross. I'm not here because I'm obligated, I say, and my throat tightens. I'm here because you shouldn't be alone right now. He turns then, slowly, like the motion costs him. In the dim torchlight, his face looks carved from exhaustion. His eyes are too bright, not with tears, but with a storm held behind them. You don't owe me comfort, he says. I know, I answer. That's why it matters. For a long moment, he doesn't move. He looks at me as if trying to decide whether my presence is mercy or another kind of danger. My gift hums faintly, not warning now, but resonating on something new, something unspoken being forged between us. A vow that hasn't been said aloud yet, but is forming anyway. Finally, Thorn's hand drops from the latch. He steps back, opening the door. Come in, he says. His chambers are austere, no indulgent luxury, only practical furniture. A wide desk piled with maps, a rack of weapons, a narrow shelf of old books, a bed made with dark wool. The windows are shuttered against the cold. The air smells of pine smoke and steel, and beneath it, a faint trace of him Alpha, yes, but not the aggressive scent I expected. It's restrained, disciplined, the scent of a man who has taught himself to starve his instincts into obedience. He crosses the room and stops near the desk, bracing both hands on its edge like he needs the wood to keep him upright. His shoulders shake once, a small betrayal of control. "I killed him," he says, voice low. "I saw," I whisper. "He was my brother," he says again, as if repeating it might make it make sense. "And he wanted to destroy your people. He wanted to force me into slaughter so the clan would feel strong." He lifts his head and looks at me with naked fury, not at me, but at the situation, at the world. And part of me understands him. My breath catches. "Not because I wanted it," Thorn says, harsh now. "Because war is simpler. You point, you strike, you win. Peace is watching your own men for knives." I take a step closer. The room feels too big, too cold, and his pain is a kind of weather. "You chose peace anyway," I say. His laugh is short and bitter. "I chose my word." The vow rings in me, and it hurts because I can feel how much it cost him. I can feel the truth of it like a bruise under the skin of the world. "You could have blamed me," I say quietly. "You could have turned me into a scapegoat and kept your brother alive." Thorn's eyes narrow. "Don't say that." "It's true," I insist, voice trembling despite my effort. "You could have made me the excuse. Many alphas would have." Thorn pushes away from the desk and strides toward me, stopping close enough that my pulse goes frantic. His scent hits me hard, pine, smoke, cold river stone, and my body answers with a traitorous warmth that makes my cheeks burn. His voice drops. "I am not many alphas." I swallow. "No." For a heartbeat, we simply stand there, close, breathing the same air. The tension is thick enough to feel like cloth between us. Thorn's gaze flicks to my mouth, then back to my eyes, and I see him fighting instinct. Fighting the urge to claim comfort the way alphas do, by taking, by marking, by making their want into law. I lift my chin. "If you touch me," I say softly, forcing the words through my racing heart, "it will be because you asked, and because I said yes." Thorn's throat moves. His eyes darken. He nods once tight. "May I?" The question's simple, raw, hits me harder than any command could. "Yes," I whisper. He reaches out slowly, giving me time to change my mind, and cups my cheek with his palm. His hand is warm, rough, real. His thumb strokes once, barely there, as if testing whether I'll flinch. I don't. My eyes burn. I lean into his touch before pride can stop me. Thorn's expression shifts, something breaking open, grief and relief and hunger braided together. He pulls me closer, not crushing, not owning, just gathering. I press my forehead to his chest, and the steady beat of his heart under my ear is a strange, fierce comfort. A reminder that he is alive, that the treaty is alive, that my people might live. His arms close around me like a shelter. I breathe, and for the first time since I stepped into his hall, my lungs fill without pain. We stand there a long time, no words, only the quiet sound of two bodies choosing not to fall apart alone. When Thorn finally speaks, his voice is rough. "You should hate me." "For what?" I whisper, muffled against him. "For what I am," he says, "for what I've done, for what I could do." I pull back just enough to look up at him. "I don't hate you." His brows draw together, disbelief and something softer. "I hate what war did to us," I say. "To my clan, to yours, to you. But I don't hate the man who stood between me and the knives in his own house." Thorn's jaw tightens. "I believed you too quickly." "I trusted you too quickly," I admit, and my voice shakes on the confession. "It scares me." "It should," he says, and then, quieter, "it scares me too." He bends his head and presses his lips to my forehead, an intimate, restrained gesture, almost old-fashioned. Not claiming, not mating, comfort. My gift hums, soft and aching, as if the world itself recognizes the shape of this choice. We don't speak of heat or rut. Not tonight. Tonight is for grief and survival and the quiet vow of staying. Thorn guides me to the bed and sits, then pulls me down beside him without force, only invitation. I curl against his side, listening to his breathing slowly even out. In the dark, his hand finds mine and holds it. No chains, no spectacle, just a grip that says, I am here, you are here. We did not let them break peace. Outside, the citadel slowly settles. Shouts fade into distant murmurs. The storm passes. And Thorn, the wolf of Vale, finally lets exhaustion drag him into sleep with my hand still in his. I stay awake longer, watching his face soften in the dark, and I realize something with a sudden, terrifying clarity. I came here to be a treaty. Somewhere along the way, I started to become wanted, not as a gift, as a person, as myself. Thorn dawn comes gray and cold, like the world is still deciding what it will allow. I wake with Scylla curled against me, her hair spread across my chest, her hand tucked under my ribs as if she anchored herself there in sleep. For a moment, I don't move. I just breathe and feel the weight of her, real and warm, and the ache of last night loosens slightly. Then reality returns, counsel, punishment, repairing the fracture Varric left behind. Scylla stirs when I shift. Her eyes open, wide and wary for a blink, then soften when she sees me. You're still here, she whispers. I'm still here, I confirm, my voice is hoarse. Are you? She huffs a quiet laugh, almost disbelieving. Yes. I brush my knuckles down her cheek, a small touch that still feels like an unfamiliar privilege. I need to bind new oaths today. Publicly, the clan must see the treaty reinforced. My council must see I won't be moved by blood or rumor. Scylla's expression tightens. And my clan. I sent riders before sunrise, I say. An envoy will go with them under my banner. No one will touch Merrowan soil without my sanction. I will offer compensation for the attacks during the war and for any raids that happened after the armistice. Scylla's eyes shine. She blinks hard, swallowing emotion like it's something she refuses to spill. They'll call you weak. Let them, I say again, and the phrase tastes different now, less defiant, more certain. Peace isn't weakness. It's discipline. Scylla sits up slowly, rubbing her scraped palm. Melees. In the cells, I answer. She'll be tried publicly. Scylla studies me. No quiet disappearance. No, I say, no more shadows. She nods, and I can see relief in it, not for vengeance, but for clarity. For a world where truth is allowed to stand in sunlight. I rise and dress quickly, armor pieces buckled with practiced efficiency. Scylla dresses too, choosing a deep sea blue gown Melees must have laid out, the color of her home waters. When she steps into it, she looks like she brought the ocean into my stone citadel. My instincts flare again, claim, protect, keep, but I force them into order. She is not property. She is the reason the treaty still stands. And God's help me, she is becoming something else to me too. We walk to the great courtyard where the clan gathers under the gray sky. The council stands on the dais, faces stiff and pale. Soldiers ring the crowd. The air is sharp with cold breath and tension. In the center, an oath stone has been placed, black granite veined with silver, old enough that countless hands have bled on it. Scylla stands at my right, slightly behind, not hidden but not displayed. I made that decision on purpose. Let them see her as she is, unchained, unbroken, watching. The steward Iskander brings forth the treaty scroll, repaired and resealed, and reads the terms aloud. The words echo off stone and banners. When it is my turn, I place my palm on the oath stone. A blade is offered. I cut my hand without flinching and let blood drip onto the granite. I, Thorn Caldrus, I say, voice carrying, renew the treaty of Red Hallow. I swear by blood and witness to uphold it. Any who act against it act against me. The vow rings in the air so strongly that even those without Scylla's gift seem to feel it, the crowd quieting, spines straightening, as if something invisible has been set in place. Then Scylla steps forward. A hush falls. Omegas do not cut their hands on oath stones in this clan. They are not asked to bleed in public, not for words, not for power. Scylla takes the blade. My heart lurches. Scylla, she looks at me calm, stubborn, luminous with purpose. I consent, she says quietly for me alone. Then she turns to the crowd and makes the small cut across her palm. Blood beads. She presses her hand to the stone beside mine. The courtyard goes so silent I can hear the distant cry of a hawk. Scylla speaks, voice steady. I, Scylla of House Merowyn, acknowledge the treaty and its terms. I will stand as its living guarantee until it is secured in action, not only words. And I will not be used as a pretext for cruelty by either clan. Some faces tighten at that last line, but no one interrupts. Not after last night. The vow rings, clear, struck metal truth. The treaty thread in the world, the one Scylla can feel, tightens into something stronger. Not fragile twine now, but braided rope. The envoy from Merowyn arrives by noon mud-spattered, wary, escorted by my riders. Scylla's clan representative looks at her as if seeing her for the first time, not as a pawn returned, but as a woman standing beside an alpha with blood on his oath hand and peace in his mouth. We sign, we seal, we exchange witness tokens. The politics are not romantic. They are heavy, meticulous work. And because they are work, not song, they hold. By evening, the citadel feels different. Not safe, never entirely, but steadier. The sharpest edges have been revealed and filed down with truth. When the last counselor leaves and the doors close, Scylla and I stand in the quiet corridor outside my chambers. This is the moment the treaty required, her mission completed, formally, publicly, witnessed. Freedom, I don't reach for her. I don't trap her between stone and need. I keep my hands at my sides, fists clenched inside restraint. You're free to go, I say. The words taste like ash. Scylla's eyes search my face. Do you want me to? My throat tightens. I choose honesty, even though honesty is the most dangerous thing I can offer. Yes, I say, and no. She exhales, the sound shaky. That's not fair. I know, I admit. So I won't ask, I won't bargain, I won't trade your clan's safety for your presence. I swallow. I won't do to you what war did. Scylla's gaze drops to my hands. Then she looks up again, and something in her expression steadies, like tidewater choosing to turn. What will you do? She asks softly. If I stay? My pulse pounds. I'll keep you safe. That's not what I asked. I meet her eyes. The truth sits on my tongue like a live coal. If you stay, I say, voice low, I will learn how to be the man you deserve without trying to own you. And I will fail sometimes, and I will try again. Scylla steps closer, close enough that her scent wraps around me salt, time, smoke, home, and storm. Her hand lifts and rests lightly against my chest, right over my heart. My body reacts instantly, heat rushing through me, instincts surging, but I hold still. Let her lead. Let her choose. She whispers, "You didn't ask me to stay." I force a breath. No. Why? Because if you stay, I need it to be yours, I say. Not mine. Scylla's eyes shine. Then open the door. I hesitate only long enough to make sure she understands what she's doing. Then I reach behind me and pull the door open. Wide. No guard blocking. No lock clicking like a cage, just space. Choice. I step aside. Scylla looks past me into the room where she spent the night by my side, where grief didn't swallow me whole because her hand held mine. She looks down the corridor toward the tower that was her gilded prison. toward the exit, toward the road home. For a long moment, she doesn't move. Then she steps into my chambers. She turns, takes the door edge with her hand, and closes it. From the inside, the sound is soft, final, not a trap, a decision. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for months, maybe years. Scylla's gaze lifts to mine, brave and trembling at once. "I'll stay," she says, "but not as your peace gift." My voice is rough. "Then as what?" "As myself," she answers. "And if you'll have me as your partner in keeping your oaths." The vow rings in my bones, without blood, without stone. I step forward, slow, and lift my hand to her cheek the way I did last night, careful and reverent. "Then stay," I whisper, "and I will spend the rest of my life proving I deserve it." Scylla's breath shudders. She leans into my palm. Outside, the citadel keeps turning. Men eat. Fires burn. Snow falls. Inside, peace begins the only way it ever can. One chosen vow at a time. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. I truly appreciate you spending your time with this story. If you felt the tension, the tenderness, and that final choice in the closing scene, tell me honestly. Did Scylla win her freedom, or did she choose a different kind of cage on her own terms? And is that still a happy ending to you? Drop your take in the comments.